Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. As we anticipated, the Cubs did not option Mr. Shota Imanaga. They did not agree to the team option. He declined his option, and he is set to become a free agent. We'll talk about that. We also made a trade in the same 24-hour period, and we'll talk about some upcoming free agents. But before we get into all that, I just want to give everyone a big thank you to who continue to watch the videos, liking the videos, commenting and sharing your thoughts. This is an inclusive Chicago Cubs community, so keep on doing it. And if you are new and you are enjoying the content, please subscribe to the channel. We are officially on the road to 1K. Let's keep this bad boy rolling. So, as we kind of anticipated on this channel, the Cubs did not accept the team option or pick up the team option for Shota Imanaga. Again, that second half of last season was just too rocky to invest 3 years into the future for Shota. Again, as well, I hate mentioning it in every video, but it does play a role in the thought process, whether you want to think the Cubs are cheap or not, and that's all fine and dandy. I don't disagree with you. You just can't invest $57 million when you might miss half a season, So, they didn't pick up the team option. He, of course, is going to decline his player option for $15 million, and now he is set to become a free agent. I will imagine that the Cubs will extend that qualifying offer, which is going to be close to $22 million. He can accept that, return to the Cubs on a one-year deal, or if he chooses to decline it, the Cubs will be compensated with a pick. So either way, I think this is mutually beneficial for both parties. Would I like Shota back on the team? Of course. I love Shota Imanaga. He's a fantastic representation of this team. He's in those commercials. He is hilarious, and he's a really good pitcher. Now, again, when I say really good pitcher, there are levels to really good pitching, right? The problem for me having Shota back on the team is we would have potentially by the middle of June 3 of the exact same type of pitchers on the team, and honestly, that's just something we really can't have anymore. What this team did last year was awesome. I think they kind of went above and beyond their ceiling a little bit. I kind of figured they'd be more like an 88, 89 win team. And, the way they were playing the first 2 months, it looked like they were going to be a 95, 96, 97 win team. And the second half completely fell off. Even if they play marginally better baseball, they're kind of up there closer with the Brewers with one of the best records in all of baseball. So, again, I think there does have to be some mind shift sets here for this Cubs team right now. Shota, Matt Boyd, and Justin Steele, all three left-handers, all have been all-stars, I believe, for the Cubs. I gotta clarify on Mr. Justin Steele, so give me a moment on him. But either way, my point here is, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have one-time all-star. We would have 3 pitchers, left-handed pitchers, that are all placement-style pitchers, right? They're not necessarily fireballers. They're not gonna blow you away with their fastball. They're going to be deceptive. They're going to get the batter leaning one way, his timing off. And unfortunately, when they're not locating well, they are susceptible to major damage, which is what happened in the postseason with Shota Imanaga and the second half of last year as well. So if I were the Cubs pitching staff or, I'm Jed Hoyer, I don't necessarily need 3 of those guys. We already have Matt Boyd locked in for another year. Steele is going into arbitration. He is coming off the injury, so we don't know how he's going to look coming back. But, again, unfortunately for Shota Imanaga, he kind of just seems like the odd man out in this situation. I wouldn't mind having him back. But if there's upgrades to be had, I think we all kind of know what as fans is we do need that in terms of pitching, and not just pitching. Like, you don't just need arms. We need guys that throw the ball somewhat hard, like 98, 99 miles per hour. We need to keep these opposing teams off balance because, a coworker of mine, when we were discussing this yesterday, he brought up an excellent point. He said, imagine you're in a playoff series and we have Boyd, Steele, and, Imanaga going. Obviously, we know Cade Horton's going to be in there. The way Jameson Tyone pitched last year, I wouldn't mind him being in there as well. But just imagine, right? Like, that's 3 similar kind of left-handed pitchers that do kind of the same thing. Now, I know Shota's more of a splitter guy, Steele more of a, low and away, Boyd placement. I know they're different, but again, 3 left-handed pitchers. I never thought it would be, you kind of want 1 or 2 to keep things off balance. You don't need way more than that, and that's kind of what the Cubs have in this situation. So I am okay without Shota, unfortunately. I mean, again, if he wants to accept the qualifying offer, come back for 1 year, $22 million, I'm not going to tell him no. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to happily accept him back. Maybe he could figure it out and start going to get a bigger contract elsewhere. In other news, we did make a trade yesterday. The Cubs traded Kittredge back to Baltimore, ironically. So it was a true rental situation in regards to Andrew Kittredge. Now, Kittredge did have a team option for $9 million. And personally, I am okay without Andrew Kittredge. I know he was actually really solid for us. I didn't mind Kittredge. He was just way too off speed for me, right? When I think, again, when we got guys that throw in the range of 92 to 96, that's great. And, he's got that diving slider. He's got good stuff. And he was really solid for us. Obviously, he had a rough game or two, but I think he also pitched an immaculate inning. $9 million for a reliever, that is just a tad too much. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Cheapo by any means, but I would much rather give that $9 million to Robert Suarez or to, Edwin Encarnacion. Now, those guys might be bargaining more, but I'd rather contribute that money to one of those guys instead of Andrew Kittredge. And I think he has a $1 million buyout, so the Orioles will probably pay that, and he might become a free agent anyways. But yeah, $9 million was just a tad too much, even for this Cub fan, for us to want to bring him back. And again, statistically speaking, go look at some of the relievers of today. They're not consistent. There's very few and far between consistent relief pitching out there. It's an up and down position. 1 year you can be great. The next year you can get rocked. It is intense, and, a couple fresh arms in the pen, I don't think would hurt this ball club by any means. So the Cubs have already traded Andrew Kittredge back to the Orioles for cash considerations. Now, let's talk about a free agent that is kind of hot topic. I posted this one on my TikTok. If you guys want to see more Cubs content, make sure you head on over to Blacktop Cards. But Bo Bichette, I know he doesn't have a position in our field. I understand what we're saying. We are still looking for a DH. Just remember that. Bo Bichette is the kind of player the Cubs need, in my opinion. Now, do we have a spot for him? No. Nico is playing second. There's no doubt about that. I want Nico to play second base. Dansby Swanson's locked in at shortstop for a while. I want him to be our shortstop for a while. Matt Shaw, could we upgrade at third base? Offensively, of course. I'm not going to deny that. But he was a rookie last year. It might take a year or two before he starts to hit his stride. But one thing that I think this Chicago Cubs team needs is a contact type hitter along the lines of Nico Hoerner, right? Nico Hoerner was our best hitter in the playoffs. Now, Michael Busch was probably our best overall hitter in terms of power and the contact, but Nico was raking in the postseason. And I think if we could pair him and Bo Bichette together, again, maybe Bo Bichette plays DH, right? He could give Nico a day off. He could give Dansby a day off. We probably lose something defensively. But again, you just have to take those ebbs and flows in the Major League season, because more often than not, Bo Bichette will make the proper play. And, he was hurt during that last month there, but he hit that big 3-run homer in Game 7. He is the son of former player Dante Bichette, who absolutely mauled the baseball in the mid-90s. And I just like his game. Last season, he had 311, 181 hits, and a 3.5 WAR. Bo Bichette is the kind of player the Cubs need on this team in terms of the contact hitting aspect. Now, again, I know the optics, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to tell me. I understand. We don't need him. We don't have a place for him. I hear you. The Cubs are cheap. I hear you. I'm talking from a fantasy offseason perspective of what I think the Cubs need. The Cubs need a player like Bo Bichette. Ideally, you go get Bichette. Do I think the Cubs are going to get him? No. But do I think the Cubs should make a call and hold a meeting? Absolutely. I do not. But again, I'm not a team, a manager on the team. Obviously, I'm here on Cubs Daily speculating here. I'm just saying the Cubs need to have a conversation with Bichette and just see what his price range is, because the dude can hit the baseball, and he's not necessarily a power hitter, which might be more beneficial to a Wrigley Field atmosphere, especially if the wind is going to notoriously be blowing in all season and hamper some power numbers. So, again, share your thoughts on who you guys think. Is there another player that's not named Bichette that you think the Cubs should sign to play in, right? Like, we need a Willie Castro type. Someone made a comment, we need a Willie Castro type, and they're not wrong. Bichette is not a Willie Castro type. He's just a good bat. And I think he would be an excellent DH, in my opinion. And I think the Cubs should absolutely make a consideration for him. Now, let's talk about the 3 former Cubs that are on the market this offseason. There are also the 3 big free agent bats in the offseason as well. We're talking Kyle Schwarber, we're talking Kyle Tucker, and we're, of course, talking Cody Bellinger. I think the offseason would be considered a success if the Cubs end up with one of these guys. Do I have a preference on who? Of course. My ranking would go Kyle Tucker, Kyle Schwarber, then Cody Bellinger third. I think we saw a couple years of Cody Bellinger, and he was good. He wasn't bad. He was good. I don't think he lifts everyone else offensively like a Kyle Tucker does. I have not seen this rendition of Schwarber in our lineup, so I'm not sure how much he's going to lift everyone else. But, we all know Kyle Schwarber. We know he's a special hitter. And we would never mind Schwarbombs back at Wrigley Field by any means, right? We would love to have Kyle Schwarber back. Now, Kyle Schwarber would officially clear up that DH spot. We would have Seiya Suzuki playing right field and Owen Casey filling in where we need a day off or two. But, Kyle Tucker, Bellinger, Bellinger provides the most position flexibility. He can play center field, he can play right field, he can play first base. He can play it really well as well. Kyle Tucker, he only plays right field. And Schwarber, he technically could play left field. You don't want him to play left field. But in terms of elite bats, in terms of ranking those bats, Schwarber 1, Bellinger probably 2 from just last season's. I would prefer Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker's a better baseball player. You don't have to think that. But what we need to remember, though, is what he did for this lineup. You can look at the numbers. You can say, oh, he didn't do jack. That's fine. It's about his approach at the plate on a daily basis from what I saw with Kyle Tucker, man. He always 6 pitches. He'd get down 0-2. He'd work it to 2-2. He would foul off pitches. Yeah, you're going to get out. That's part of baseball. You know what hits 1,000. If everyone hit 1,000, we'd still be playing the same game from March 30th or whatever the opening day was, because no one would get out. We'd be still in the top of the first inning. Nobody out if everybody hit 1,000. So everyone's going to get out. It's part of the game. I understand the postseason left a sour taste in your mouth, but you have to remember those first 2 months. When Kyle Tucker's healthy, when he's right, that offense was special. The offense was incredible. And that team was fun. And that team was never out of baseball games. And that team could compete with the Dodgers. Now, October brings up a whole different story. Obviously, the Dodgers were built for October, literally built for fall, as their shirt moniker said. But again, of those 3 players, I think Kyle Tucker lifts everyone else up around him the most. I think Schwarber's the best bat. And I think Bellinger is the most flexible in terms of being able to play positions and give people days off. So that's going to do it for today's edition of Cubs Daily. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. If you guys are enjoying the content, please continue to hit that like button, share your comments down below. And if money wasn't a thing, because we all know the Cubs are cheap, that's fine. Which free agent are you signing to the Cubs for an immediate impact? Don't care about the years, don't care about the money. We need this guy in our lineup to make us better in 2026. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 1K. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.